I ruined my relationship. After 9 years and 9 months, my boyfriend has decided we should separate. And it truly is all my fault. It's not even one singular thing that I've done. I've acted so selfishly this entire time, my entire life really, that I have broken my partner down and made his life miserable. I didn't even realize I was acting selfishly. It was never my intent. But now that he's pointed this out, it's glaringly obvious. I feel so awful for the way I've acted and the effect I've had on my partner and his life. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to go through, and I have to do it on my own. Just looking for words of support and encouragement, or maybe some links to better understand how to change my selfish thinking and behaviors. Edit. I am reading through all the comments and responding as I can. I appreciate anyone offering words of support and encouragement. I will continue to read and respond as I can. I think you must recognize that he's unlikely to be interested in trying again. No one breaks a nearly 10-year relationship on a whim. Therapy may be able to help you explore why you behaved selfishly and what you can do to do better. Even though in your comments you say you are not interested in dating again, it's worthwhile to deal with these issues because they tend to crop up in other work and personal relationships. You are capable of change. The fact that you see the problem is a big step. I'll say the same things say every day to my daughter. Are you going to do better next time? Good. Let's get going. It sounds like you've already learned from it, which is half the battle sometimes. You don't sound like a bad person. Just maybe made some bad choices. Maybe some professional counseling could help. Being broken up with is tremendously hard to deal with. It's also hard to deal with constructive criticism. You're going to be okay. What I like about being single is having time to work on myself. Sometimes it's better to just focus on yourself and becoming the person you'd like to be. And, for me personally, that's easier to do when I'm single. For what it's worth, I separated from my wife after 14 years together because of her extreme selfishness, drug dependency, and being an abusive drunk. During our year separation, she went through therapy, cleaned her life up, and slowly but surely showed me she was doing her absolute best to change. That was 7 years ago. We are still married, happy, and now have a daughter. He stayed with you for 9 years for a reason. The person he loves is still in there. Do your best to bring her back. Best of luck. If you don't mind my asking, what is some of the selfish behavior you feel like you did? I'm not trying to imply or speculate about your relationship, but I've heard similar sentiments from other women I know, and sometimes after a little bit of time away from the relationship, to put things in perspective, they realize that they were being blamed for everything even when it wasn't their fault. But even if you did something wrong, a part of growth is to realize things about ourselves and work to fix them. And I wish you the best. I lost a lot of important relationships from my youth by not being a good person. It was a process. But I truly believe I am a decent person now. 9 years is a long time to stay with someone. Clearly he loves you. You may be able to get him back. But change for you. No matter what is going in my life these days, I'm pretty content cause I know I'm a better person. A lot of people are armchair diagnosing from a good place. But keep working with your therapist, more than one if it's affordable. Keep understanding what laid those patterns down in your relationships. Keep practicing new ways to be. We can all aspire to be good to ourselves and others. The land. Our whole life long. What are some examples of you being selfish? It's hard to advise without knowing what you define as selfish. One person's selfish may be another person's self-care. Whatever you do, do not jump into another relationship. If you really have issues and have abused someone as you indicate in your post, then seek therapy and reconciliation before moving on to the next person. I wish my ex had this sort of enlightening revelation. I love him so much, but he has hurt me so severely due to his selfish nature, which has led to some pretty terrible behavior and treatment toward me. I hit my breaking point the last time I spoke with my ex. It just has to happen that way in this situation. I think you're on the path you need to be on. This is the wake-up call you needed. Work on bettering yourself. You don't sound like a bad person at all. My ex isn't a bad person either. Just a flawed person. As we all are in our own ways. I was bad to my long-term partner a few years ago. In fact, I would own up and say I was emotionally abusive. I didn't mean to be, but I was. I don't know what happened with you, but it might be relatable. If you take true ownership now and get yourself into therapy for likely a big chunk of time, it's likely you can change a lot and become the person you and any partner deserves to be. Well done for taking the first step and being so vulnerable online. I wish you the best. I think you're the only person on this sub admitting fault for anything. Sounds like you learned a lot about yourself, which is a win. Now just find a way to apply it. Seriously, looking into the mirror is one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. You did it. It only gets better from here if you apply what you learned. I am in the same boat as you. Spent too long fantasizing about stupid scenarios and ended up just giving into that demon inside. That thinks they can just hurt the people that love them and sweep it under the rug. I ruined things with someone who only wanted to see me succeed, and I still want the same for her. But I am now a horrible chapter in her life she just wants to move on from. Only thing I can do now is hold on to those parts about me that she fell in love with and keep bettering myself for a chance to show that love in return. Don't neglect a strict and healthy exercise routine at whatever level you are able. It can't be overstated how important it is in helping depression, but also helping you heal bad choices. The discipline to start to make better choices develops out of prioritizing health through at least some form of consistent exercise. I genuinely send my best wishes. I know how hard this can be when battling depression. One of the best things about being human is the ability to change pattern behavior. You have seen there is an issue and you can change. And it will be easier working with someone. Just make sure you mesh well with the therapist helper. The right amount of support. I applaud your awareness and truly wish you luck in your life. Romantic or not, few people care to change negative things about themselves. So, some stranger on the internet admires you in a much less creepy way than that phrase would normally sound. Lol. Look, we all grow and learn as we age. When you can acknowledge your faults, you can work on them. Good on you for taking that step. I'm sorry you may lose your partner. After 16 years together, my ex-husband said he wanted a divorce. The things he pointed out were definitely true. But he was not without fault either. He suffered silently for years before telling me he wanted out. We tried a few months of couples counseling. But he was well and truly done. It was horrendous and I spent 6 months really depressed. But eventually I moved on. The important thing is that I learned from my mistakes, and now with my fiancé, I work very hard to do things differently.